This is Matthew Cratter from Trader University, and today I have a video for you that I've really been hesitating to make, but I think it's finally time to come out with it. This is an exclusive that you're not going to see anywhere else. It's finally time for me to admit that I am Satoshi Nakamoto. I've been waiting 11 years to tell the world who I am, and I think it's finally safe to do so. Bitcoin is now really taking up its home on Wall Street. It has people protecting it very high up in the US government. We have Bitcoin senators, the OCC is on board, etc. That being said, the reason I hesitate is because I imagine that my life is now about to get very complicated. I may be given a CEO post, I may be given a very high-ranking government position, or I may be going to jail. Time will really tell. But before any of these big things happen, I want to share with you some of the behind-the-scene things about Bitcoin. I'm tired of seeing other people get credit for Bitcoin. So when you see this guy's face, you should actually think of me instead. Satoshi Nakamoto, obviously a pseudonym. I came up with it because Satoshi means many very nice things in Japanese. It can mean wisdom, virtue, etc. Nakamoto, very common Japanese name, but it also means technically means of middle origin. That's one interpretation of it. And I like this idea of Satoshi Nakamoto not being high class, not being low class, but really being the middle class everyman. People have also wondered about why I chose April 5th, 1975 for my birthday. And I think some people have figured it out. But the real secret is it has to do with gold. Gold was banned by by FDR on April 5th in 1933. So my birth month and date and year have to do with this arc of gold, where it was banned on April 5th, and then President Gerald Ford signed legislation allowing Americans once again to legally own gold. He signed it on December 31st, 1974. And so that's why I chose 1975 was really the first full year when you could own gold. So gold goes from being illegal to being legal. And this is one of the important things that people have figured out, that Bitcoin really is digital gold. I chose to launch Bitcoin in late 2008. I published the white paper, and then I mined the first Bitcoin in January of 2009. The timing, I've been waiting for this for many years. I've been working very hard on the protocol and on the white paper. And as I was watching the great financial crisis unfold, Lehman Brothers filing for bankruptcy, the Fed coming in to bail out all the money market funds, I realized that this really could be the end of the system. And either way, it was a very ripe time to be issuing Bitcoin, and Bitcoin as the answer to a Fed out of control, as an answer to an over-leveraged financial system. Bitcoin is obviously a bearer asset in this way. It's like gold, and it's really what the doctor ordered when you have an over-leveraged fiat financial system. So I published the white paper right about here, October 31st, 2008. This is the white paper, the original paper, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And I published it as sort of we could call it a trick or treat. I published it on October 31st of 2008. I wanted people looking back to realize that Bitcoin is both a trick and a treat. It's certainly a treat for those who know how to hodl it. It's also a Trojan horse that will eventually bring down the entire fiat system. So I thought Halloween and this tradition of trick-or-treating was the perfect time to release the white paper, at least for Bitcoin. This is something that I would say, as I've watched the history of Bitcoin unfold, and I've seen the various hard forks of Bitcoin, Satoshi's vision, which had nothing to do with my vision. This was never about me. This was always about the product. The Bitcoin Cash people were wrong too. Bitcoin, as I've shown you with my name and various other things in terms of the release of the paper, Bitcoin is digital gold. It's a store of value. I was always a big fan of gold, though I realized its limitations in the modern digital age. And so I came up with something That was as close to gold as I could, but much easier to send, much easier to store, and much less easy for central banks and governments to confiscate. I originally needed to play up the P2P cash piece of this, which is why I called it a peer-to-peer cash, electronic cash system, is because this white paper and the people I were talking to were obviously the cypherpunks, people like Hal Finney and Adam Back. And so I needed to really emphasize this is what they were most interested in, the peer-to-peer cash piece of it. So I thought that would make the most sense as sort of an entree into the cypher punk email list. Bitcoin was never intended to be just another PayPal. Obviously, its transactions per second are too low, even though those transactions can have very high dollar values. But it was intended to be the base layer for the new economic system, the settlement layer, the foundational layer that's akin to something like Fedwire, where you get final settlement. And I do talk about this in some of my emails, which people have saved and posted online. Here is a part of the chat I was doing on February 11th, 2009, just a few weeks after I started mining Bitcoin. The root problem with conventional currency is all the trust that's required to make it work. The central bank must be trusted not to debase the currency, but the history of fiat currencies is full of breaches of that trust. And this really gives you the key. Bitcoin is digital gold, as Wall Street and Bitcoiners have figured out. I should say that I will never sell my Bitcoin. You don't have to worry about me dumping on the market. In fact, I have to say, hopefully I can say it modestly, that I'm the only big founder in history who's never cashed out. My net worth right now is in excess of 20 billion, and I've never sold a single Bitcoin. I'm not very interested in money, and so I will never cash out. And I think the metaphor doesn't even make sense, because why would I ever convert beautiful Bitcoin to ugly, ugly fiat, ugly US dollars? I'm the original hodler, and I will hodl forever. And I hope my family will carry on the tradition and will also never sell any of my million Bitcoin. One last thing, and that's that it's April Fool's Day today. I'm obviously not Satoshi Nakamoto, but the good thing about this video is you did get to learn a lot about some of my theories about him and why he named himself certain things, why he released the white paper when he did. But remember, the whole point of Bitcoin is not to trust, but to verify. It's April Fool's Day. Trust nothing and nobody, just like any other day. And pity the fool who's not aware of Bitcoin's value. Hopefully you found this video amusing and helpful. If you did, please hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the notification bell if you want to be notified when I publish my next video. And let me know your questions and comments in the comment section below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.